from the National News Studio, Sri Lanka.
A very good evening and a warm welcome to National News Broadcast. I'm Vidushni Sadish Kumar, together with Uwin Hettiarachi.
Yupun Abekun renews the history of athletics. Para-athlete Palitha Bandara secures silver. Bus fares to reduce from midnight today. Private buses launch a strike action from midnight. Chinese ambassador in Sri Lanka calls on president. Discussions between Tamil National Alliance and president to form an all-party government. Colombo Stock Exchange shows a significant growth. China engages in ballistic missile tests in Taiwan Sea.
In your local stories this evening, Ambassador of China's Xi Jinping called on President Ranil Wickremesinghe at the Presidential Secretariat today. The Chinese ambassador extended his best wishes to President Wickremesinghe and discussed the manner in which the bilateral relations could be further strengthened. During the meeting, the president reiterated Sri Lanka's firm commitment to the One China policy as well as to the provisions of the UN Charter on the principles of sovereignty and territorial integrity of nations. He observed that countries must refrain from provocations which further escalate the current global tensions and pointed out that mutual respect and non-interference in the internal affairs of countries are important foundations for peaceful cooperations and non-confrontation. Tamil National Alliance conducts discussions on the formation of an all-party government with President Ranil Wickremesinghe.
The meeting was held at the Presidential Secretariat there last evening. The discussion was held with the participation of TNA parliamentarians M.A. Sumanthiran, Dharman Siddharthalingam and Selvam Adikalanathan. The TNA parliamentarians explained lengthily over their views and opinions related to the formation of an all-party government. The President briefed the MPs on the 22nd Amendment to the Constitution and the interim budget to be presented to the Parliament by the new government. Meanwhile, the new Sri Lanka Freedom Party, led by MP Kumar Velagama and Venerable MP Athuliye Ratnathera, also met with the President for a discussion yesterday. Special attention was directed on the police statements presented by President Ranil Wickremesinghe. Discussions led by the President and held with the political parties commenced recently, and yesterday's discussion was held in the second rounds. Prime Minister Dinesh Gunawardena was also present at these meetings.
Sri Lanka's Yupun Abekun managed to secure the bronze medal of the 100-meter sprint at the Commonwealth Games. He became the first Asian athlete to accomplish such achievement in the Commonwealth Games history. Commonwealth Games 2022 is currently underway in Birmingham. Yupun qualified for the semi-finals after finishing the 100-meter sprint heat with a time of 10.06 seconds. The semi-finals was held yesterday at 11:56 p.m. in Sri Lankan time, and Yupun competed in the 7th lane. He managed to finish the sprint with a time of 10.20 seconds, securing a position in the finals.
Normally expect all the racing to be happening. Mitchell Blake coming through very strongly there. He is a great 200 man, we know that. Now to the first of two. Yala won his semi-final in 10.02, having won his heat in 10.05.
The finals of the 100-meter sprint was held at 2 a.m. in Sri Lankan time, and Yupun competed from the 2nd lane. Accordingly, showcasing a brilliant performance, Yupun managed to secure the 3rd place of the sprint while securing a time of 10.14 seconds. Kenya's Ferdinand Omanyala secured the gold by finishing the sprint with a time of 10.02 seconds, while South African's Akani Simboni won the silver after finishing the sprint with a time of 10.13 seconds. Yupun Abekun became the first Sri Lankan to win a medal in the 100-meter sprint event in Commonwealth Games history. He also became the first South Asian and Asian athlete to accomplish such achievements in the Games history. Sri Lanka also secured a medal from an athletic event in Commonwealth Games after 24 years. He is the fourth Sri Lankan to win a medal in an athletic event at the Commonwealth Games. In 1950, Duncan White won the gold medal in hurdles event, while Sri Lanka secured 2 other medals in the 1998 Commonwealth Games. Sri Lanka's Shriyani Kulavansha won silver in the 100 meters hurdles event, while Sugat Tilakaratne won the bronze medal in the 400 meter sprint. Yupun Abekun is the record holder in 100 meter sprint not only in Sri Lanka but in South Asia as well. He recorded 9.96 seconds during a 100 meter sprint held on July 3rd, renewing the South Asian record.
Meters, but that widely, I think, when he knew the gold was in the bag. Abekun second to right. What a run from him. Absolutely superb. That is one of the biggest upsets of the week in these athletics championships. Abekun taking Sri Lanka's bronze in the men's 100 meters. It is a better throw. Oh, there they are, having a great embrace. Good work by the camp. Quite historic. There it is, Omanyala, 10:02 to Simbine's 10:13.
Meanwhile, para-athlete Palitha Bandara won the first medal for Sri Lanka at the Commonwealth Games in the men's discus throw in the F42 to 44 category. He recorded 44.20 meters distance to secure the silver medal for the country while marking his personal best.
The National Transport Commission has taken steps to reduce the bus fare by 11.14% with effect from midnight today. Accordingly, the minimum bus fare has been reduced from 38 rupees to 34 rupees. Director General of the National Transport Commission, Ilan Miranda, said that the minimum bus fare has been reduced from 38 rupees to 34 rupees. He has said this fare reduction will be applicable for 350 scenarios. Accordingly, he added the rate of 350th scenario, which is at 2,882 rupees, will be reduced to 2,611 rupees. Ceylon Private Bus Owners Association has taken a decision to launch a strike action from midnight today, opposing the bus fare reduction which has been implemented without any prior notice and insufficient fuel supply. A gazette notification has been issued declaring several state sectors including fuel and electricity supply as essential services with effect from yesterday. The relevant gazette was issued by Secretary to the President, Saman Ekanayaka, under the instructions of the President. Accordingly, all services connected to the supply of electricity, the supply and distribution of petroleum and products and fuel, all services, work or labour in connection with maintenance and reception, care, feeding and others have been declared essential services. The supply of fuel under the National Fuel Pass system is successfully underway in filling stations across the country. Reports have indicated long queues observed near filling stations have declined drastically. However, three-wheeler owners have shared their concerns over quota of fuel they received under the system. Meanwhile, Minister Kanchana Wijesekara has requested users of the National Fuel Pass system not to display their QR code anywhere visible to others. In a tweet, he urged people to keep the QR code in a secure place to prevent anyone else from using it illegally. The option to delete the current profile features is now available and the option to register again has been facilitated, he added. Litrogas company has said the Litrogas prices are expected to reduce from tomorrow onwards. Meanwhile, the island-wide distribution of litro gas is currently underway in a normalized manner. The purchasing of gas cylinders from agencies in various parts of the country is also being carried out normally. A decision has been reached to reduce the daily power shedding period. Accordingly, Public Utilities Commission has said only 1 hour power interruptions will take place night from tomorrow onwards.
Colombo Stock Exchange reported a significant improvement today. The all-share price index of the CSE recorded an improvement of 149 points today.
At the end of trading today, the all-share price index gained 149 points to close at 8,229.14, whilst the S&P Sri Lanka 20 index also gained 91.62 points to close the day at 2,677.67. Just within 4 days of trading this week, the all-share index gained 149 points. That's an increase of 6% for this week, whilst the S&P Sri Lanka 20 index also gained 91.62 points, an increase of 9%. In comparison to previous week, we saw an increase in activities in the market as a whole. The total turnover of 5,094.7 million rupees recorded last week was surpassed this week, recording a total turnover of 10,677 million rupees within 4 days of trading. And the number of trades also increased by 37 points, 37,000 trades compared to previous week. Foreign purchases recorded last week stood at 619 million, whereas up to date after 4 days of trading this week, it stands at 592 million rupees. The market capitalization had an addition of 301 billion added this week, with the figure standing at 3,622.38 billion at the end of trading today.
U.S. Secretary of State Anthony Blinken says Sri Lanka is in a moment of challenge and crisis, but has an opportunity to create more democratic and inclusive government. He made these remarks in Cambodia at the start of the meeting with Minister Ali Sabri today. Minister Ali Sabri travelled to Cambodia recently to take part in the 29th ASEAN Regional Forum ministerial meeting, which commenced today. During the 2-day summit, Minister Ali Sabri is expected to meet several counterparts on the sidelines of the forum for bilateral discussions. The minister appreciated the U.S. role in securing support from the International Monetary Fund. The two were meeting on the sidelines of a regional gathering in Cambodia. U.S. Secretary of State Anthony Blinken, in a tweet, said a discussion was held with the Indian External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jayashankar on Sri Lanka's economic and political situation on the sidelines of the forum today.
Government of Norway allocates 13 million Norwegian krones worth funds for the World Food Programme, United Nations Children's Fund and the UN Population Fund in Sri Lanka. The funds being provided to address the food, nutrition and protection needs of the most vulnerable children and women in Sri Lanka. Norwegian Minister of Foreign Affairs, in a statement issued recently from the Norwegian Foreign Ministry, said this support will be channeled through the UN and targeted towards food security and protection efforts in Sri Lanka. Norway will provide 5 million Norwegian krones to the World Food Programme targeted towards vulnerable groups. Additionally, 5 million Norwegian krones and 3 million Norwegian krones will be provided to United Nations Children's Fund and the UN Population Fund, respectively, for their work to protect children and women. The support provided by Norway expected to be taken from the humanitarian reserve, which has been set aside to respond rapidly to new acute crises or underfunded crises as the need arises throughout the year.
Colombo Magistrate Court granted bail for social media activist Pathum Kerner, who was in remand connections to the unruly incident that occurred in Poldua Danshan in Batharamulla on July 13th. Accordingly, Colombo Additional Magistrate Harshana Kakunuwela ordered the release of the suspect on 2 personal bails, each worth 1 million rupees. Also, the court ordered the suspect to report to Colombo Crimes Division on the last Sunday of each month. Imposing a travel ban, the magistrate ordered the suspect to hand over the passport to the court. Colombo Crimes Division informed the courts that Pathum Kerner was produced before an identification parade and the witness had identified the suspect. Representing the suspect, President's Counsel Renzi Arsakularatna said even though the police alleged that damage worth of 1.6 million rupees had been caused on the army, police vehicles and an ambulance from the incident, no evidence has been produced claiming that the suspect had inflicted those damages. The President's Counsel also pointed out that no evidence has been produced before the court to prove the suspect had snatched away a firearm belonging to armed personnel during the incident. After considering the submissions, the additional magistrate postponed the hearing until August 23rd and released the suspect on bail. General Secretary of Ceylon Teacher Services Association, Joseph Stalin, was expected to produce before Colombo Fort Magistrate today. He was taken into custody yesterday under the charges of allegedly conducting demonstration on May 28th despite a court order. Opposition leader Sajid Premadasa also visited him at the Colombo Fort police station this morning. The Colombo Fort police informed the protesters in Goldface to remove all temporary shelters and crop cultivations in the land belonging to the government and the Urban Development Authority on the vicinity of Goldface with immediate effect.
The relevant announcement was made by the police last evening. The Colombo Fort police informed the occupants at Goldface and the surrounding area to withdraw from the area before 5 p.m. tomorrow. The police announcement has further indicated that the occupants should prevent from engaging in a manner which violate the rights of the people. Meanwhile, 4 applications have been filed before the Court of Appeal seeking an interim order suspending the police order directing people to vacate the Goldface protest site. Relevant writ applications were filed by Venerable Miraghavate Kashapatera, Irosh Alfonso, Asankabe Ratna and Lahiru Anton Madushan Fernando. Today is the 118th day of the Goldface protests. Many occupants have left the protest site in Goldface at present, while a group of protesters can still be seen at the site. Security at the Presidential Secretariat and the surrounding areas has been tightened. Police investigations inquire into the forcible entry of the protesters into the Colombo Fort President's house and damages inflicted by them. The assessment of damages caused on the assets with historical value in the President's house premises is currently underway.
Protesters forcibly entered into the President's house in Colombo Fort amidst the July 9th protests. Following the protest, they occupied the premises for the next couple of days. Due to the occupation, severe damage had been caused on many parts of the President's house. Accordingly, relevant police investigations are underway.
Met Department says showery and windy conditions expected to prevail due to the active southwest monsoon. The department has further indicated that the weather condition in Western Province will reduce to a certain extent, but the inclement weather will continue to prevail in Central and Sub-Ragama provinces. The Met Department has also indicated that prevailing heavy rains and windy conditions are expected to continue further in the southwestern quarter of the island as well as western and southern sea areas. The vehicular traffic along the Alla-Vallavaya main road was disrupted due to falling of rocks and earth mounds in Alla and Ravana-Alla sections of the road. The vehicular traffic has been limited to a single lane due to the prevailing condition, though several places have been cleared for traffic. The vehicular movement along Hatton-Nurelia main road was disrupted this morning due to falling of mounds of earth in the Naunoe Junction area. Steps were taken to clear the road with the support of Nurelia Sri Lanka Army Camp. The vehicular traffic near the Mohini Alla section along Maskelia Sripada Road was disrupted after rock and earth mounds had fallen onto the road. Sri Lanka Army has extended assistance to clear mounds of earth and rocks fallen on the upcountry railway track and to normalise the railway operations. An earth mound had collapsed on a house yesterday in Hatton, Minipura area. A 4-acre vegetable cultivation in Cregly Estate in Dimulapatana has been completely destroyed due to an inclement weather condition. Accordingly, 3 million rupees worth crops have been damaged from the overflowing of the Cregly Canal. Irrigation Department has indicated that many rivers and reservoirs have reached spill level with the prevailing heavy showers. Central Province Governor Lalit Gamage took steps to grant holidays for schools under the Kotmale, Nuwara and Hatton educational zones in Nuwara district due to prevailing inclement weather conditions. Danish Ali, who has been charged for forcibly entering Sri Lanka Rupavahini Corporation, has used a mobile phone in an illegal manner. After accepting the charges, the suspect was imprisoned for 14 days and transferred to Valikade prison. The suspect was presented to Prison Judiciary Board for the relevant investigations. Subsequently, suspect was produced before the courts.
The British High Commissioner Sarah Halton called upon Prime Minister Dinesh Gunawardena today. The meeting was held at the office of the Prime Minister in Colombo. They discussed the possibilities of enhancing trade and economic ties and attracting more investment from the United Kingdom. Further discussions were also held on the current political, social and economic issues in Sri Lanka and close cooperation between the two countries. The British High Commissioner said there is a potential to attract more beneficial investment in power and energy sector, including renewable energy and hydropower. Prime Minister said the Victoria Dam is a symbol of British assistance to Sri Lanka and thanked the UK for continuous assistance during the current economic difficulties. During the meeting, Prime Minister explained that efforts are being carried out to form an all-party government, and the High Commissioner said her country's expectations is to see the fulfillment of those efforts. The Prime Minister also explained the plans to hold several international events to commemorate the 75th anniversary of the independence, including Tourism Pavilion and an investment forum, and requested to promote the participation of the United Kingdom. Secretary to the Prime Minister, Anuradha Sarnaika, and the head of the political desk of the High Commission of Britain, Matthew Death, also take part in the occasion. The third Kumbal Parahara of the historic Kandy Asala festival is parading the streets at present.
The procession commenced at the auspicious time of 7:47 p.m. and a large gathering was seen yesterday to witness the second Kumbal Parahara amidst inclement weather situation. The second Kumbal Parahara commenced yesterday at the auspicious time of 6:38 p.m. Tusker Indiraja of the Sri Dalada Maligawa paraded the casket of the sacred relic. Mian Raja and Buramaraja Tuskers accompanied Tusker Indiraja. The sixth procession of the historic Ruhunu Maha Kataragama Devalaya paraded the streets last night. The festival, which commenced on July 29th, will continue until August 11th. Today is the 7th day of the historic Kataragama festival.
Now for a look at few news stories in brief. Collective of lawyers handed over a letter to the Bar Association against attorneys who supported the agitators using the name of the Bar Association. The relevant letter was submitted by President of the Collective, President's Council, Salia Piris, and the Secretary of Attorney at Law, Isuru Balapativeddige. The letter has criticized that extending such legal aid is inconsistent with ethics. W.A.D.S. Gunasinghe has been appointed as the new General Manager of Railways, and Nishantha Anuruddha Veerasinghe has been appointed as the new Commissioner General of Motor Traffic. They received their appointment letters from Minister Bandulu Gulawardena today. A Bodhi Puja was organised at the Colombo University to invoke blessings for the veteran actor Jackson Anthony. We'll be back with foreign news after a short break.
හොඳම දේ විශ්වාසයෙන් ට්‍රීට් කරන්න. Prima Treats. Life is a treat.
Welcome back, and we continue with foreign stories now. Well, starting things off with China. China has started a series of ballistic missiles tests targeting waters close to ports in Taiwan. Speaking at the ASEAN Regional Forum, China's Foreign Minister Wang Yi defended China's military drills in the seas around Taiwan held in response to the visit. U.S. House Speaker Pelosi made a brief but controversial stop in Taiwan yesterday during a tour of the region. China reacted by launching its biggest ever military exercises in the region. Speaker Pelosi is the most senior U.S. politician to visit the island in 25 years. Her decision to stop at the island has enraged China, which considers Taiwan to be breakaway province of China. Speaking during a meeting of Southeast Asian foreign ministers in Cambodia, Chinese Foreign Minister Wang said his country had taken all necessary measures to avoid a crisis and not allow its core interests to be hurt. His comments came after Southeast Asian foreign ministers had earlier warned that growing tensions over Taiwan could spark open conflict in the region. A statement from the Association of Southeast Asian Nations called for maximum restraint and urged against any proactive action.
Terima kasih, Pantan.
Welcome back, and going on to some sports update. Well, Sri Lanka has been able to secure 3 medals so far at the Commonwealth Games in Birmingham, and Sri Lanka weightlifter Dilanka Isurukumara became the first to win a medal in the Commonwealth Games.
Dilanka Isurukumara is a resident of Udgama Vellava area in Kurunagala. Receiving his preliminary education from Getuana Mahavidyalaya in Kurunagala, Dilanka entered the sport of weightlifting through Sir John Kutalavala Mahavidyalaya. He has achieved many national and international level victories thus far. As the sole breadwinner of the family, he is currently attached to the Sri Lankan Army. Hailing from such a background, Dilanka is now a medal holder in many international competitions, including South Asian, Asian and Commonwealth Games. His first medal came in the 2016 Junior Commonwealth Games after securing gold in his weight class. In 2019, he won the gold medal at the South Asian Games and then won the bronze medal at the Asian Games in 2020. He managed to secure the bronze medal in the 55 weight category in the Commonwealth Games. Dilanka, trained by Rukshan Gunathilaka at the age of 26, has accomplished many achievements for Sri Lanka in the international stage, and with necessary facilities provided, he will bring many glories to the nation in the future.
Terima kasih, Pantan.
Well, that's it for tonight's news. Thank you for watching us. Have a good night.